It's February in Northeast Indiana, but it's blue skies and 41 degrees out, and that means it's time to go camping. I get a lot of questions about how we protect our RV in the winter months because we use our RV in the winter months, and I thought today it would be just you, me, the camera, and I'll just quickly show you exactly what I've done in 3 specific areas to protect our RV in the winter months. Now make sure you stay to the end of the video because I'm going to share with you how we're going to use our RV this weekend even though the entire water system is winterized. Now, one of the first things you're going to notice is our RV, it's not covered. Now, we've owned 11 different RVs over the last 19 years, and we have never covered a single one. Now, if you cover your RV and you like that, great. I've just never wanted to invest the money into the cover, and ever since 2018, we use our RV in the winter months, so a cover wouldn't even make sense. I want to show you exactly where we start in protecting our RV in the winter months, and it's not with the cover. It actually starts right over here in the wet bay because number one concern is our onboard water systems. Now, I use kind of a 2-step process in protecting our RV. Once fall rolls around and we're not using it as much, what I typically will do between fall and Christmas break when we head to Florida for a couple weeks is I just drain the water system using the low points, opening up all the valves. I drain the water heater, and then we just leave it until Christmas. If we get a super cold snap, then I can turn extra heat on, I can turn tank heaters on, there's things like that I can do, but usually we're fine until we get back from Florida. When we get back in early January, that's when I go ahead and drain it all again and then actually winterize it using antifreeze. Now, this was the first year that I winterized our new Alliance fifth wheel. It took a couple gallons of pink fluid. Currently, it is fully winterized. The water heater's been emptied. We're on the bypass mode, and that's where we're currently at. So that's one concern. I want to keep all the water lines safe. Now let me show you a second area of concern. And that area of concern will come right in on this side, is right back here. Hopefully you can see them. And that is our lithium batteries. Now, these lithium batteries do not have the low temp protection on them. I went a little cheap with those and I just said I'm going to deal with it. And one of the ways that I deal with keeping them warm above freezing is we use this little space heater that I picked up a few years ago at Aldi of all places. I want to say I paid like $20 for it on a clearance rack. I just keep the thermostat set pretty low and the heat on high. It just runs in here, keeps the underbelly nice and toasty. I'll use my Victron app to actually check the temp of the batteries. They are well above freezing. In fact, most of the time they're up in the 50 to 60 degree range. Just having this in here to keep them nice and toasty, and that way I don't have to worry about any issues with the batteries. Some of the lithium batteries, like our old Battleborns, have low temp protection built in to where they'll just shut down, they won't take a charge, and then you don't have to worry. I still wouldn't want my batteries out here when it's negative degrees, which it sometimes happens here in Northeast Indiana. Now, before we went winter camping, what I used to do was I would just unplug my batteries, take them inside for the winter months, keep them nice and warm inside, and then come spring, we'd reinstall them. But because we do use our RV throughout the year, then I have to make sure I protect those batteries. Now, there's another way that I also protect both the water system and those batteries, and we're going to go inside and I'll show you. In addition to having that little heater in the outdoor storage area to help with the batteries, the other thing we do is I actually keep our thermostat for our furnace on, and we make sure it's set to 45 degrees. So we're always keeping the overall trailer temperature around 45 degrees in here. Again, just to kind of help protect all the water systems and the battery system. The big question is, doesn't it cost you a fortune in the winter to heat your RV nonstop? And the answer is, it's really not that bad. I think since fall, when I brought it home, I think I've filled a 30-pound tank 3 times on this RV. So we're looking at about 90 pounds, and I want to say that puts us somewhere in about $60 to heat, plus whatever the electric cost is for that little heater. So overall, not too bad. Now, I did think I had found a way around using as much propane. Costco had these on sale, so I picked one up, a Vornado heater. Now, it does a great job. The problem with it is the thermostat only goes down to 60 degrees, and I don't want to keep the RV at 60 degrees all winter. So we still have this in here because we use it when we go camping, like this weekend, to help supplement with the furnace. But in terms of throughout the week, when it's just sitting here, we're not using it because, again, it just runs nonstop and it was keeping the trailer way too warm and costing way too much money in electricity. The third area that I told you about of concern in the winter for our RV has to do with keeping rodents out of the RV. When we brought the RV home back in midwinter from our seasonal campsite, within a week, we found droppings in here where mice had gotten in. So the first thing I did was I went outside, crawled under the RV, found a couple small openings that I sealed up, but I wanted to go even further. And the first thing I did was I looked for any openings in here where they might have gotten in. So a good example is right here under the kitchen sink. This big opening right here, it was pretty good size. So I filled it with steel wool. I did that in a couple places, here and back in the bathroom. And I've heard that mice just don't like steel wool. It's a good deterrent, so that seems to have worked there. Another thing we did was we went out and purchased some of these Grandpa Gus's scented packets. They're kind of like essential oils. And we change these out about every 45 days just to make sure they're good and fresh. I've got them all throughout the RV, both in here and in the outside storage, as a deterrent. And finally, as a backup, I do have a couple bait traps in here. One here, one up in the bedroom, just as extra protection. Obviously, you don't necessarily want a mouse dying in your RV because the smell will be horrible, but at the same time, I've seen the damage that mice can do, and so that's a final step. Now, ever since I filled those outside holes, put the steel wool on the inside, put out the Grandpa Gus's, we haven't seen any signs of mice in our RV since. I also have that same Uncle Gus's and the bait in the outside storage, also as a precaution. We just don't want to have damage done. So there's the three areas of real concern for us. It's the water systems, it's our batteries, and it's keeping the pests out of the RV. Now, I said when we got to the end of this video, I would share with you how we're going to use our RV in February with it winterized. No, I'm not de-winterizing for this trip. It's just a quick 2-night trip, and I really just don't want to de-winterize and then re-winterize just for the weekend. And the other thing is we're headed over to Evergreen Park RV Resort near Mount Eaton, Ohio. This place is nice, and their shower houses are super nice. They also have an indoor pool and a hot tub. So, because they always park us right across from the bathhouse, we're just going to use their bathhouse to take our showers over the weekend. Now, the one thing we do utilize when we go winter camping is we go ahead and use our toilet. We like the convenience of having the toilet when we're camping, especially in the middle of the night, so we don't have to go outside and go to the shower house. So how do I do that? Well, I just carry a couple gallons of water with me in jugs that we use to flush the toilet. When we're done camping on Sunday, I will go ahead and I will empty the black tank. And when we get home, I'll put a little pink fluid down the black tank and we'll be good to go. So in essence, the water system itself stays fully winterized. We're just using the black tank for convenience. So there you go. That's how we do it here in Northeast Indiana. Let me know, how do you protect your RV in the winter months if you're in a northern state where it gets nice and cold? Until next time, everybody, we'll see you on down the road. Bye.
Travels with the lady, we'll see you on down the road.